Hey, so do you remember when I went on tour over 4 months ago and had a big old blast and then came back with the intention of editing together vlogs of each day that I spent on said tour, but instead took way too long in between entries and still haven't even finished the last couple? No? Because I uploaded them to YouTube Shorts. And no self-respecting person even watches YouTube Shorts. Yeah, no, I don't remember either. What's up, everybody? My name is Nick Scarpinato, and I am a full-time musician, a part-time YouTuber, and an all-time procrastination champion. Today, I want to make a video really to hold myself accountable to making 2024 my year, and nobody else can have it. But before I start my journey towards total world domination, I must first reflect and correct some past behaviors, both professionally and financially, by looking back at my first year as a full-time musician, and more specifically, the part of that first year that I spent as the touring kind. So, in May of 2023, I set off on Baby's first tour, which was definitely a name I thought was more clever on paper. With the help of my friend Mirabelle Skipworth, who's already a successful writing, touring, and recording musician in her own right, we ended up plotting a tour throughout 10 different cities right here in the US of A. Indianapolis, Columbus, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Nashville, Memphis, St. Louis, Chicago, Sheboygan, and Plainfield, Illinois. Before I set off, I admittedly did not prepare very much. Sure, I had snacks and water for days, but I hadn't saved up a whole lot of money beforehand for gas and lodging, the two most important parts of going on tour as a musician. And I'd only reserved hotel rooms for about half of the trip, assuming, of course, that the other half of the cities would have people living in them that would be nice enough to help out little old me. Hi, can you help me? I'm just a wasp-widow guy, and I could really use a bed and dinner and a shower and general socialization with other human beings. Oh, what's in it for you? I could do a really good baby voice. Wait, where are you going? So, yeah, I might have underestimated how underprepared I was, but, you know, what's the worst that could have happened? Surprisingly, given how nervous I was at the beginning of tour, it actually got off to a pretty great start. The folks that I met and got to play with at every show were amazing. The audiences were attentive. Musically, I felt like I was performing at my best. And the hotels weren't nearly as uncomfortable to stay in as I thought they'd be. Things were really looking up for old Nick here until my throat ripped itself apart and I couldn't sing for the rest of the tour. Now, it's not as bad as it sounds. Even though on night 2, I did have a tarot card reading done, and I was told that something bad would happen that I would have to adjust to in the future, the near future, but yeah, it's whatever. And while, yes, losing my voice was a huge setback that I had to overcome and adjust to, what I thought was the total end for me because I had pushed my voice too far beyond belief on tour and I couldn't sing for the rest of my life was really just a case of, well, I didn't get it formally checked out, but I think it was a case of laryngitis. I began to lose my voice in Pittsburgh for show number 2, and it really only got worse over the next couple of days. My throat was itchy, I was coughing all day, every day, and the worst part was, I couldn't even sing along to my boys Reliant K in the car on my long drives between cities. What is happening? Luckily, I was able to find cheats and little workarounds for performing my songs every night, because after all, they were my songs that no one outside of Illinois had heard before, so I could do whatever I wanted with them, really. But it still wasn't easy. For Cincinnati, my voice was almost entirely gone, and had it not been for Throat Coat and Ricola Max, I probably would have had to cancel tour altogether and make the 5.5-hour trip back home in one night. Oh my god, 5.5 hours. That night was probably the worst of it, though. Towards the end of tour, my voice only kept getting stronger and stronger, so that by the end, I was able to almost entirely recover and return to Illinois triumphantly. Minus not making any money and making out with a plastic shark. Now, you're probably wondering why I mentioned getting sick as part of the lessons that I learned while I was on tour, since getting sick isn't always necessarily something that you can plan for, but even if I couldn't plan for it, it still served as a reminder to me to always stay flexible and be able to adjust on the fly if I'm doing something as big as going on tour, something as big and unpredictable as setting off to 10 cities to play music for strangers. Let's face it, to create music or any kind of art without the help of a larger entity and to do it totally independently, there are going to be some setbacks. Monetarily speaking, I barely broke even, which surprisingly is the norm in the touring musician community. I mean, considering all of the supplies that you have to buy while you're out on the road, any sort of emergencies that pop up, being able to sell merch and CDs and ticket sales and all of that combined make breaking even kind of a good deal. Well, not really good, but it is the bare minimum standard that every touring musician tries to reach. Another thing I learned was, of course, I needed to prepare way more in advance. Aside from having more supplies and money, I also could have benefited from recording more or establishing myself more in my local scene before trying to head out all the way to Pittsburgh. Because by either recording more music or reaching out to more local artists or venues in the areas that I was playing, I probably could have guaranteed more follows or likes or merch purchases for short, in each city that I visited. For example, there were some songs that I played on the first night in Columbus that people would come up to me afterwards and say, hey, I really like that song. And I was like, thank you very much. But you can't listen to these because I haven't recorded them yet. Optimistically, I could use that information to prioritize which songs to record next. But the point still stands that without the songs that people liked hearing live recorded, where they can listen to them anytime that they want, the likelihood of them forgetting those songs, and by proxy, forgetting about me, are a lot higher because there's no artifact preserved for them to go back to and enjoy. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just thinking too hard about all this. I mentioned at the top that I want this experience going on tour and this video subsequently to serve as a reminder for me moving forward to not only be a better musician, but to also learn better. There's no guidebook to follow, and there's no corporate ladder with easily followable steps when you're an artist. So utilizing one's own experiences, successes, and failures can be an active decision that could honestly make or break a career. And I've only really started contemplating all of this and my next move and what I'm doing with my life because, well, I don't want to get too emotional and sappy and blubbery like a baby. But as of recording this video, I find myself in the middle of some pretty big life changes. Recently, I hit my 1-year milestone of being a full-time musician. Just over a year ago, I was able to earn money almost entirely through music, whether that be from performing or teaching or curating music for a business. And I also just recently hit my 3-year milestone of living in Aurora, where I've made so many memories and I've come into so many opportunities as a musician that I don't feel like I otherwise would have. But now I've reached a point where I don't know if I'm making nearly as much to both live and also save. It's a whole conundrum. Folks in my late 20s, you get me? Yeah, I didn't think so. Maybe early 20s. Nick, focus. So this very well might be one of the last videos, if not the last video that I record in this room. I mean, at least videos like this where I'm more talky and less singy. As for actionable steps that I'll be taking in the future to further my career, it all just comes down to productivity, man. I'm so fucking lazy. And maybe those will have to be small steps at first, like waking up earlier so I can get more work done throughout the day, or giving myself small goals, like sending one business email per day. I could start giving myself entire days dedicated to just writing music or learning songs for my cover sets or posting more YouTube videos. Maybe I'll even start learning Japanese again to strengthen my brainthen. Sugoi! The fact of the matter is that I love creating content. I love making stuff and I like performing. Sometimes the stage I'm performing on is an IRL stage. Mom, that means in real life. And other times, the stage is right here in my bedroom. One day, the studio where I'm recording has a full mixing board and a full rehearsal room and all of the bells and whistles. Another day, it's a small little setup in my closet. Tomato, potato. Wait, that's not right. Either way, I want to, from this day forward, start putting out more creative energy into the world, and that includes right here on my YouTube channel. I'm only saying this to you all now so that when I don't upload for another 4 months after this, one of you will be so kind as to leave a decapitated horse head on my pillow, not as a threat, but as a friendly reminder.
What the hell?
I'll also be uploading more regularly to my TikTok, where I do stupid sketches and react to Pokemon filters, but more importantly, I'll also actually release more music. Until then, you can already find what's already recorded on Spotify and Apple Music. All the descriptions to that and my TikTok and everything else will be in the description. Did I really just say all of the descriptions? Let's see. Oh my gosh. Also, I totally forgot. The other day was my 28th birthday. Not that the number 28 matters really, but I'm that much closer to 30. And according to all sitcoms, at least the two off the top of my head. Your 30s are the best. So you know what? I think it's time for a change. And not just another one of those long-term, I'm gonna be a better musician kind of changes. No, I mean something more immediate, something more drastic. Something that I can show off right away to prove once and for all that I finally mean business. I got a haircut. I also finished the last two tour vlogs, so stick around and watch them. I'm Frankenstein, like emphasis on the Ken. I realize maybe I should have just. No, Mom. I'm so green. I'll call you back. Well, have a good rest of your day. Thanks for checking out this video. I promise the next time you see me, I won't be the same shade as Moss. So, look forward to it.